I don't have a cool story. I woke up one day and I was in it. And I think that's how a lot of people in this industry kind of started.
Welcome to another episode of the Seven Figure Journey podcast. My name is David Gilliland. I'm one of your co hosts. And today we've got Marc Brookland with SEO Locale calling out of Philly. Marc, welcome to the show.
Thanks, David. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
We we love the entrepreneurial journey, right? This is kind of what we do. What your business, I mean, you've grown your SEO business now to have more than a dozen people, um, well over the $1 million mark. How did you get started? What got you going into this in the first place? Is it always want to be an entrepreneur, or were you just sick of working for the man?
um, I think it was a lot of things. I mean, my family we're a family of entrepreneurs. My grandparents came over here from Cuba when Fidel came into power. Spent some time in Miami, and someone told my grandfather, like, "Oh, there's money in Philadelphia." So he packed up, him and my grandmom, and they went to Philadelphia. And he opened a furniture store that was around for 60 years plus until they sold it fairly recently. My mom worked at the furniture and is also a pharmacist. My dad had his own pharmacy. My brother has his own law practice. My sister is getting ready to have her own psychology uh, firm, I guess is what you'd call it. So our whole family is full of entrepreneurs. But what really got me into SEO, I don't have a cool story. I woke up one day and I was in it. And I think that's how a lot of people in this industry kind of started. Um, but once I got my first job at a small agency, I loved it. And that's actually where I met my partner Nick, who taught me just about everything I know in SEO. And every we would always talk about one day we can do this. Like we could do this ourselves. Um, and that was always the goal. And that was back in 2012. Um, so finally, 2017 rolls around. Um, I get laid off from my job. They're paying me a severance. And then they called me about 2 weeks later and said, "Hey, Mark, we have this other business. We really want you to do the SEO for it. Um, but we don't want to hire you as a full time. We want you to do it as a contractor." I was like, "Well, I guess this is the start.
Starting business.
This is SEO Locale." So um, I was fortunate that they were basically paying me twice for a few months there. And that first month that I decided to go all in, I probably made about 1 million phone calls, cold calling, um, different businesses, and I got about 14 clients in the first month. Um, and then I never picked up the phone ever again.
You're like, it's referral time for me.
Yeah, so it was building the SEO, and then with that, I was able to get some referrals. So I was lucky that I only had to deal with cold calling for a month. That could make you want to kill someone. It's horrible.
Hey, my hats are off to salespeople and to each one of us entrepreneurs, really, who have to do that. There's no one else to do it in the beginning. It's us.
Yeah, I mean, and it was a lot of time, a lot of rejection,
Hmm.
a lot of dejection. You feel horrible.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, what else are you going to do? I mean, no one knows you exist. There's only so many people you can reach out to. And even at first, you're kind of hesitant, like, oh, like, am I comfortable working on my uncle's SEO and having him pay me for it? What if it doesn't go well? There's a lot of reservations that you have.
Yeah,
So, I mean, it's definitely tough.
yeah, yeah. It is, and but you made it. And in fact, congratulations are in order as far as the percentage of businesses that actually pass the $1 million mark in the U.S. Like, it's 5%.
Oh,
I
wow.
mean, that is such a small number.
Yeah. Yeah.
Businesses that start, only 5% ever make it there. And so, congratulations, you're in an elite group, really. And you've grown past that now, right? And so even fewer get past that plateau of 1 to 2, 2.5 million, and go on up beyond. So anyway, It's kind of cool. So tell
Yeah.
me a little bit. Well, I'll do a little note. So everybody's doing the entrepreneurship thing in your family, and you've got a shirt on for those that are listening. It says "Dad and his girls."
Mhm.
So are your daughters? They're also in that entrepreneurial vein. You've got a three. What was it?
They're
They're pretty young, so they
yeah, she's
started their first
turning
dealership.
yeah, she's turning 3, my oldest, and the youngest is, 1.5. She'll be 2 in September.
I love that. They'll begin their journey. First, it's slowly taking over a regional expansion. They'll start to own your home until there's nothing left.
They might already own the house.
All right, they've begun their journey. That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah.
Anyway, very cool. Well, since you passed that $1 million mark, since you've got through that, and just to be clear for listeners, SEO Locale. I mean, the name kind of hands it to you a little bit. This is a B2C play, generally speaking, and it's for those who want this local SEO. So if someone's saying, you know, tire shop near me, boom, right? We want them showing up all over the place.
Right.
Uh, and you've been doing great work in it. What has helped you since passing the $1 million mark to continue to grow and expand your business? What are some nuggets you could share?
I think there's a lot of different things. One has been that we have been fortunate in the employees that we've hired, and they really care about the growth of SEO Locale. They care about our clients. They care about the work that they do, and they work really, really hard um, to make sure that we're providing the best product that we can. So I always give a tip of the cap to my team when I can because they do great work. Another thing that I think helps is the transparency that we have with our clients, where they really trust us. In this industry, the average business is only working with an SEO agency for like 3 or 4 months. Most of our clients are with us for closer to a year on average. So the relationship that we build with our clients, it's not just, oh, we're your SEO agency, email us when you have a problem. We really work hand in hand with our clients. They come to us for things way beyond just digital marketing and SEO. People will say tell me about an accounting issue that they have and ask me if I know an accountant, stuff like that. So they really trust us, and I think that has helped us retain most of our business, which helps us grow. Um, and the last thing and most important thing is the strategy that Nick and I have built and developed over time. It actually works. So, all the other stuff is great, but if your strategy and your product isn't working, the other stuff doesn't really matter. No one's just going to keep paying you because they like you. You have to have the results. So, we have a good product.
I love that. Um, in getting to that good product, uh, how'd you come up with that?
Um, it's funny that you asked that. It's very simple. You just read. It's SEO is no secret. There's no secret sauce. It's not like we have some magic fairy dust or um, uh, some IP on some certain thing that we do that no one else can do. That's not how SEO works. All of the information is public. It's all out there. Google will release articles. There are a lot of analysts who do tons of case studies on different articles and websites that rank well and why and how and all the different signals. The reason that SEOs exist is because nobody has the time to deal with all that stuff. That's why SEOs exist. Um, but I mean, I guess I think we just have a lot of years of experience doing it. My partner has been doing this for over 20. I've been doing this for about 15. Um, I think that the experience that we've had from early 2000s, mid 2000s to today, and just understanding what Google is looking for and what works, has allowed us to um, create a strategy that aligns um, with Google's guidelines. And again, it's not a secret. Google it. You can Google search guidelines, and they tell you here's what we're looking for. It's not a secret.
I love it, but that key focus is how do we stay relevant to our customers? It's by delivering to our customers exactly what they most need. Right? They're trying to achieve something, and you have a way to help anybody who is looking digitally to find a solution to their problem. They find your customers. Um, I think sometimes as we grow our business and we get past that spot, we start feeling like, yeah, I got it. I got it covered. And we forget to stay relevant. We forget to, on the regular, all the time, get out there and understand how has the market shifted. In your case, how's the algorithm shifted?
Right.
Not just the market, how's the algorithm shifted? And how do we need to change our product to stay relevant? Now, things move too quickly for us to just care for our customers and try to sell more. That product innovation has to be constant. What you were doing 10 years ago is no longer relevant today, right? Completely fair,
100%.
right?
100%. Yep.
And product life cycle for you, it's extremely fast because it's not just market shifts. It's a company saying this is the new game. You
Hmm.
have to shift, we've shifted. And they're looking to serve their interests and needs by
Hmm.
serving their customers in a way that best drive revenue to them. You have to stay on top of that. The relevancy matters. Every one of our products go out of date. Some of us it takes a lot longer, but even like oil and gas, it will have a product life cycle, right? Like, and there's maybe over an 100-year period instead of something else, but still, what's our product life cycle? Are we staying relevant? And the other two things you hit, one was transparency with your customers, keeping that relationship high so they know there's a problem, they know it too, and you give them confidence that we can move forward on it, and a team that deeply cares that everyone can feel and sense it. So the quality isn't just in the product itself, it's in the how it's delivered, right? The messenger matters in this one, and that's been a key. So thanks for sharing that with us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now you're at this stage, you've got 15, 16 or so people, you and your partner are growing and building this. What are you working on now? Maybe we can help out with, you know, me and the listeners.
Yeah. One big thing that we're doing is working on a platform that's called SEO app.io. It's currently live. It's a tool that we've built in house. And that's where all of our reporting comes from. So that's where all that transparency comes from that I mentioned before. Every client that we have has access to that portal, and that's where they can see the keywords we're targeting, where they're ranking, how the rankings have increased over time. It's also linked to their Google Analytics, so it's just a central location where they can see all of those kinds of reports. Um, but what SEO app also provides is any business, even if they weren't working more with us, has the ability to leverage SEO app and what it offers. It is a subscription model, but it's similar to for anyone who's familiar with like an SEM Rush or something like that, where you can track your campaign, the keywords you're targeting. There's a content element to it. It'll help you from start to finish build a base uh, for your SEO strategy. So it can be a really powerful tool. It's something that we're working on every day. It is currently live. We do have subscribers on it today, but that's probably the biggest thing that we're working on right now.
That's cool.
It leverages a
You've
lot
learned
of
how to take your transparency to another level and put a little bit of control and a sense of I know what's going on into your customers' hands. That's far beyond we're innovating by just reading the articles.
yeah. I mean, for transparency, in my opinion, is one of the most important things that you can be in this industry. Um, and it's an easy way to differentiate yourself because most people aren't. They don't like to you know, give any kind of insight. It's almost as if they want people to be confused to the point where they're like, "Oh, I'm so confused. I have to keep you. I have to pay you money so that you make things not confusing." Um, and it doesn't really work for us. I don't really believe in that. I think that if you help your client understand what's going on, they're more likely to stay with you for the longer term. So that's kind of been our philosophy.
That's cool. Very cool. Hey, thanks for sharing those. And again, that is SEOapp.io if people are wanting to tap into that and be able to see their own SEO. Now, what what are you struggling with now that could be impeding your growth, or that you're seeing in the future you're going to need to nail down?
I think the biggest thing that's really ongoing is just continuing to scale the business, but with employees. Not so much bringing in new clients. That part has always been steady, but making sure that we're hiring the right people is always the most important thing. Especially we work remotely right now. So when we hire someone, it's so much harder to give them the proper training, the proper tools, help them understand the culture, help them connect with the rest of the employees and the team, help them connect with the business, and help them and so that they understand the vision and where we want to go. Um, so making sure that we hire the right people is incredibly important. It's when if we hire someone and they don't make it past month 1 or 2 or 3, it crushes us, and I mean it crushes any business. Um, taking the time and resources and money and all that stuff for something to not work out is tough for a business.
It's let's pretend it's a starting position in your business and not a new leadership role or something, but a starting lower paid um, type of thing. A, a bad hire, I've heard on the low end estimates of it being like a $50,000 loss to a business.
Mhm.
And and then on the higher end, let's say you don't move them out quickly, and there's it continues to drag on and issues that come, that then the dollars go up into the 100,000 plus. That's what we've been seeing, right? We've seen it over and over again. And you're right, it can stagnate it. Generally, at about this size, you got you and your business partner. A couple of you can manage and see and touch just about everybody directly. You probably have everyone reporting to the two of you in some way. Uh, and and now we're going to get to this phase of to expand. Other people have to be able to hire also, not
Yep.
just the two of you. And so we need a process, right? A good, proven, predictable process. But some of the things you've already got going for you. So here's some like baseline things that this is helpful. So if you can solve this, we're talking about the real growth happens, not just the if we do it wrong, there's a $50,000 or $120,000 loss to us. But if we get it right, there's $1 million, 2 million, $10 million opportunity when this process is figured out in the services space, especially. When this process is figured out, that means we can keep growing because the team can keep helping us to get better. The team can help us to, like, you could start working on the next app idea, the next thing, whatever it is, when this is a process and it's not just does Mark and his partner, have a gut feeling that this is the right person, right? That we can know.
Right.
So you mentioned some things. You talked about the values, and you mentioned transparency, and you mentioned deeply caring, right? Like deep care on that, and probably something around like voracious appetite for learning, meaning never stop learning, have to stay relevant. I don't know. Those are three things that came across while we were talking. But what are your core values? Do you have them listed out?
I don't think that would really have them listed out, but ironically, my partner and I did have just recently we did employee surveys to get an idea or to get a better sense of where they feel they're at. Just get a better idea of what's going on in their head. So making sure that they're happy in their role, making sure that they understand the importance of their role, making sure that they understand SEO Locale's vision, where we want to go, what we value as a company, all of those kinds of things.
So,
So,
so you're testing this. How well are we onboarding our group in essence? How are we getting them up to speed? And are they getting it? And are they happy? Is that
right.
fair?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And what have you found out?
So, definitely eye opening. And it helped Nick and I realize that we don't do a good enough job getting everyone on board and understanding of why we started SEO Locale and what we believe in and what's most important to us and where we're going, what the future of SEO Locale looks like.
I love that. Like, so, I mean, this idea of, and a lot of people listening may say, well, what's this matter? When it comes to attracting the right team members and repulsing the wrong ones, we have to be able to answer the questions of who are we? Why are we here? And where are we going? You might be like, that's religion that answers the question. It's not my business. Actually, we have to answer this question for our team members, for our business. Who are we? Why are we here? And where are we going? And if they don't know it so deeply because they hear it from you all the time, in fact, they hear it from each other, if they don't get it that deeply, they'll never act like a business owner. Or if they do, they'll act like a business owner that's taking your business a different direction or is leaving and taking your business from you, right? They're not going to be aligned with you in what you wanted to do. So like answering those questions are key, and they work both for two areas. And we started to talk about attracting, and then you started to talk about things that are critical for onboarding and ensuring the culture's there. I want to keep them separate just for a second. It's the same work, but let's use it first for the attracting. So the first piece is to say, so let's define it. And you've already got the right idea. It's not, what's your business partner's name? Sorry.
Nick.
Nick. So it's not for Mark and Nick to just pull it out of the air. You can do that, but it's better if you really work through it. And if you identify two or three, or maybe it's all of your team, it's the people that you say, I want this business built around them. There are kinds of people. They have the drive that I like. They've got values that, I mean, we mesh really well. I want people like that. And I'm not talking about demographic things. I'm talking about soul kinds of things, like what I really believe, right? Like what's the stuff that brings me to life, and that's what we're looking for. And so to take the time together to define it clear enough, just like you have to do with SEO with your customers, you've got to drill down in and be like, no, really, what is it really? Don't just tell me, shoes. Get down in tight. Tell me what these people are really searching for. Well, we've got to get in tight for us first. What is it that resonates deeply with us? Because what resonates deeply with us will resonate with the kinds of people we want to attract. So we take the time and we co-create, and you could word cloud it, right? You could put stickies up on a wall. I mean, you're remote. You could put them all across like a Figma board. You can do all sorts of things. Get the ideas and creativity going, and then narrow it down in and get tight and identify what are the 4, 5, or 6 things that define who we are, our that essence of our belief system that drives us, our values, our priorities, really. So do that work. Also, the why. Why did we get started? Why is this so important? Is what drives us? And if you did just a 20-second, what's your why, Mark? What would you say right now?
The why is where I really think helped everyone connect with why we operate the way we operate and why we work with most of the businesses we work with. Um, 20 seconds. Um, when my dad owned his pharmacy, he worked with a larger agency. Um, he was paying them a ton of money. They didn't do anything for him. I mean, did horrible, pretty bad work and not great product. He canceled with them, and without any knowledge of anything, they wiped his website, wiped his SEO, wiped everything. And I mean, it was a catastrophic disaster. And I had to build this horrendous. I'm not a developer. I had to build this horrendous website for my dad just to get something up. Um, and start getting the SEO back. And thankfully, Nick was nice enough to rebuild my shitty website, and so he made like um, a presentable one at least. Um, and I mean, it took me probably 6 months before I could get the SEO back on track. And this website was down for probably a week or two. And I mean, it crushed them, totally crushed them. So I mean, that's the why. That's why we work with these small businesses. That's why um, Nick and I care so much about working with small businesses, and it's to provide a affordable solution for small businesses.
Well, and I'm going to dig a little bit deeper because that may be wonderful on the customer value proposition and why, but there's something even higher than that for your team. And I don't know if it's uh, you know to never hold anyone hostage, if it's um, to help people realize their dreams, if it's I don't know what it is, but I would take that story, and I would take the stories of some of the other team members of why they do what they do outside of even business. Yes, in business, but it'll show up everywhere. Like you couldn't believe that someone would treat them like that. And so you created a transparency thing, and I bet anyone who leaves you leaves fully intact and strengthened and cheered on their way going forward because of how deeply it was burned into you. You have a value around that. But there's still a why of helping either small businesses, but even if we drop the target customer, what is it? Is it helping people? Is it helping the underdog be recognized? Is it building? Is it we build local? I don't know. What is it that all of your teams like? I love that. I do that when I'm at home. I do that when I'm not being paid. I do that on my weekend. For instance, for my team, we help others realize potential. That says nothing about what I do. No one has any clue. But my team gets jazzed about it because they help people recognize their potential and make it real. That's the dual meaning of the realize, right? We realize potential. And the whole team believes that potential is unlimited. You know, you've got something like that in you and in Nick and then in those key members of your team, or maybe it's all of them together, in thinking, what's a why that drives us beyond any business thing? That really like this is cool. I find meaning in it. So look for that meaning. Then these values, you've already teased out a bunch of them. And for the listeners, when I asked his why, he right away went to stories. What a beautiful example. If there aren't stories with it, it's just philosophy. They've got stories. There's a reason they care about this. Let's hear those stories. It's part of the company lore, right? We want the stories. And so the stories are going to be out there. Then we're going to get down to a mission of what are we here for? And that's going to be something cool like now you help small businesses do what, Mark, you said?
We help small businesses get found more easily online.
Okay. So the mission may sound something like we're going to help 500 small businesses get found online by 2028. So it's measurable. It's right there. We're going to help them get found, and we have a date, right? We know how much, we know the date by when, we know exactly how we're measuring it. Your team would decide what counts as help them get found. But 500 businesses by 2028, boom, right? Mike dropped that. Everyone's excited about it. We can measure against that and move forward powerfully. That gives us a scoreboard that we can play with. It's in line with a meaningful thing that's meaningful to me, whether or not I work here or not. And that matters because if it's meaningful for me, whether or not I'm at work, I'm getting compensated without dollars coming my way, right? I'm finding meaning and purpose. That's priceless. And you'll actually see, well, it might be that's, $20,000 a year difference. They're not going to take a job unless it's well over $20,000 a year more because they're like, I find meaning here. I
Mhm.
don't just clock in, clock out and have to go find meaning elsewhere. I find meaning here also.
Yep.
And so get that vision clear. Now it's time to build your website. I want a page built. I want saying, if you care about this, if these are the values that drive you, if you're excited about helping 500 small businesses get found by the end of 2028, this might be the place for you. And then you get down into the skills and the job fit thing, right? Really clear. And you can have testimonials on there. You can have your team members talking about each of the values and why they matter to them, sharing a story. And you're like, wait, this is kind of a weird job posting, David. Yeah, it is. It really is. And it's going to turn some people off, and you want it to. And it's going to draw some others in, and you want it to. But it starts with a clear vision that we can amplify to our prospective employees and send that out there. So what they're doing is they're selecting ahead of time, and we don't get the wrong ones in. I would say there's a first step. Get really clear, and you can just imagine with the clarity around that. If I had every value named, defined, with multiple stories that supported it, can you imagine how much easier my onboarding gets? Because I get to go back to that, right? We get to repeat that. Every meeting that I have with them going forward, we're highlighting a purpose, or we're highlighting a value, or and we're measuring the movement towards the mission. Everybody knows the goal. Everybody understands how they tie to that mission and what their job does because of the clarity. They want to hear it like a few times a day. I mean, until you're like, I can't believe we're talking about this stuff again. I know. When you're sick of it, they've caught like 10% of what you wanted them to. So just keep it going. They're wondering if you're going to change your mind, if you're going to do a, flavor of the month on, the owner shows up with a new book. Oh, great. Another coach. Oh, great. All right. We're changing direction again. Hold the course, and your team's going to love it. So first, let's get the vision really, really clear. And I can see there's some opportunity for you right now. And with that, what you'll see is when you go to interview them, you're going to see them leaning in and excited. When you say, tell me what this value means to you, they'll they'll start forgetting who they are, meaning that they're a professional being interviewed. And that mask will drop as they get excited about telling you why that matters so much to them. And they'll start sharing their stories from their life, that why this matters. And if they're giving a professional response, I wouldn't hire them. If they're forgetting who they are, and they're just, I mean, they're actually sharing who they really are now, right? And they're just like into it, and like, oh, that one's real for them. That one's real. I'm hearing the stories. If you don't hear the stories and they don't seem excited about it, you got the wrong person. Okay,
That's
now
really
an
the
accountant and a salesperson looks different on excitement, but still.
right, that's really, and when Nick and I hire people, we always focus on, is this person going to fit culturally? That's the most important thing. I don't really care what the resume says. I don't care, if they were magna cum laude from MIT or if they never went to college. Um, that's not what matters, because you can, like I said earlier, you can teach anyone digital marketing. You can teach this stuff. What you can't teach is being kind to your.
Yeah, absolutely. Right.
Teach caring about your work. You can't teach wanting to learn more and more and be the best you can be. You can't teach work ethic. There are so many X factors that you can't put on a resume.
That's right.
Um, so when Nick and I interviewed these people, yeah, your resume might interest me enough to interview you, but it's not going to be why you get hired.
Yeah.
And
And
that's how we've always helped.
so get clear, define it tightly what it is. Get clear forms where your team member is marking them off for the purpose. They're marking them off for each of the values and scoring them. They're doing that on how well they and their skills match that mission, and if it excites them, what you're talking about. They're rating that. They're also rating other things, but this is first and foremost. It's predictable. Others are seeing it, and you can watch it come to life around you. You'll find people that when they first see that like whole web page, just scrolling, talking about one role, that they're just like, really? Is there a place really like this? And they're going to fight to get into your business. You're like, those are my people. You're not chasing after them. They're chasing after you because they're saying this is something different. Um, and and we want to make it in a way that our team can follow the process and that they can hire the people. At this stage, you need to do that final hire, that final interview, do the final interview. But you're now looking at each of these very qualified, all fit your company, all fit the role. Your final interview will become one where you're just saying, okay, I'm looking 3 and 4 years ahead, and 5 years and 10 years. could this person fill those future roles? Then think about, you're thinking strategic, where it's landing in the future, not current. Current you'll have. Then you can start thinking future. And I still want you to do that interview even as you grow. So to a certain level, right? To two down from you, the ones directly reporting to, maybe one down below that, that you'll always be that strategic guy for that level in your business.
Well,
But hopefully there was some value in there. We use a thing, we call it the hiring gauntlet. And so there's a lot of steps that ensure only the right people make it through, because it's 50 to 120K easily for every bad hire. And if it's a good hire, it's 3x that in the value every year. Okay, that's just what it is.
yeah.
Right. And so it's like, oh, that's worth a lot to me. That's right. That's the value we're talking about, and the ability to expand our business. I think you've got your focus on the right things for your growth, and just really excited to see what you guys do and who you become through there, and hopefully hear more from you in this community in the future. Mark, how do people get in touch with you if they want great SEO from people who know their stuff and care?
Best way would be to either visit the website, seolocale.com, SEOLOCALE, or shoot me an email, Mark, MARC, at SEOLocale.com.
Very cool. That wraps up this episode of the Seven Figure Journey podcast, where we have explored the ins and outs of the seven figure journey. Thank you again, Mark, for what you brought, for your insights, your ideas, and your questions that remind us that all of us are all of us are governed by how good are the people around us. And if we can't figure that process out and how to bring on, attract, and retain those great people, we don't grow. So, great question. Uh, if you enjoyed what you listened to today, please like, share, do all the things necessary to help other seven figure business owners find this group. Keep learning, keep striving, keep growing, and keep caring. Until next time.